Sony Computer Entertainment America presents a Universal Interactive Studios production. Developed by Eurocom Entertainment Software. Crash Bash!
Crash Bash, the very first Crash game not developed by Naughty Dog and instead developed by Eurocom and Mark Cerny.
Yes, that Mark Cerny, responsible for the very fast load times of the PS5. I think. Let's play the game, shall we?
Oh look, it's Crash greeting us with the signature dance. The chicken dance? Look at all these iconic Crash characters we can play as. Crash, Cortex, Coco, Embryo, Tiny, Koala Kong, Dingodile, and of course the most iconic Crash character of all. Donkey Kong and Sheila the Kangaroo's love child. So Aku Aku and Uka Uka are arguing over which of them has the bigger schlong, even though they both don't have one. So they decide to fight each other.
Prepare to fight!
No, Uka Uka. The ancients would not allow it.
Sorry, who are the ancients? The two of you literally fought already in Crash 3 and presumably long before that game's events too. Why can't you fight now?
I am one of the ancients. Oh cool, so why are they not allowed to fight anymore? Bye bye.
Anyway, Uka Uka suggests having a contest to decide which is better, good or evil. But Uka Uka summoned too many villains because the Crash franchise didn't have a lot of good guy characters in the year 2000, I guess. So Aku Aku gets to have Tiny and Dingodile on his good guy team now. Nice choices, and also great foreshadowing on Dingodile's part though.
Let the games begin.
So, if you haven't figured it out already, Crash Bash is a party game. So, like Mario Party, right? Wrong! This game is just mini games without boards to play on. Wait a minute, then it's just like... Anyway, we're in the warp room now, so let's start our first mini game, Crash Ball. Okay, so this minigame is 4-player Pong. That's it. That's all I have to say about it. It's just Pong, but with 4 players. Whoever survives before a certain amount of balls are let into their goal wins. Next up is Polar Panic. And now this one is fun, definitely one of my favorites. In this minigame everyone rides a polar bear with ice physics and the goal is to push all of your opponents off the ledge. Very fun and simple concept, and hey, there's power-ups too. Some of them are a blessing and some of them are a curse. The anvil will always be the most iconic item in this game. Like, someone gets it and after a while it's instant death. But you can give the anvil to someone else by touching them. But of course, everyone just runs away from you when you have one, like you have a disease or something.
Hey, where are you going? Wait!
Now here's something I never understood. The voices of the polar bears. Here's what Polar sounds like in other Crash games. This is what they sound like in Crash Bash. Why do they all sound like that? It's like we're molesting them or something. This episode of DylanBandicoot is sponsored by Animal Abuse. Not really. Next up is Pogo Painter. So this one is pretty unique. In this minigame you leave behind your color each time you hit a tile, creating a whole trail eventually. Hit a purple exclamation crate and your colors will turn into points, one for each tile. But beware, other players can sabotage you with their colors. My strategy has always been to get the crates as fast as possible before my opponents can get them to claim their points. Easy peasy. You know what? I wanna do this in real life.
I'm gonna paint everything yellow.
Jungle Bash.
I'm not making that loading screen joke anymore.
In this minigame, you all kill each other by throwing boxes and TNTs at each other.
Parents are right, there's too much violence in video games.
Wait, is it boss time? It is boss time!
Well done. You have completed the challenges that have been set for you in this warp room. To progress to the next set of games, you must defeat the mighty Papu Papu.
Papu Papu? Mighty? You know you're talking about the guy that sleeps all day and occasionally belly dances, right? You can also hire him for all your birthday parties, weddings and business meetings. Okay, I have to admit, I really like this boss fight. It feels like something you do in a traditional Crash game. Part of the reason for that feeling though is because this boss fight controls just like Jungle Bash, the fighting game where you can do basic Crash actions like jumping and spin attacking. But in this boss fight against Papu Papu, you just have to hit him with a crate 3 times while avoiding his pattern that gets a little bit tougher every single phase. And occasionally you'll defeat some Crash clones which he can summon, I guess. Oh no! He's making one last effort to defeat us! This has gotta be someone's fetish, right?
Hey everyone, ready to read some more fan mail? This one comes from Mark Cerny. He says, Crash Bash is the magnum opus of my whole career. Now back to the video.
Alright, I guess it's time to go to the next warp room. I wonder what brand new original minigames await us there.
It's the same!
Okay, so this is the exact same Pong minigame as in the last warp room, except this time the balls move abysmally slow and you can grab them with your UFO to then launch them really hard at your opponents. Look, recycling minigames isn't necessarily the worst idea ever, as long as it feels like a brand new minigame. But this ain't it, Chief. Simply making the balls move slower and giving the player a brand new way to block and launch balls just isn't enough of a change to justify this as a brand new minigame in my opinion. Next up is Tilt Panic and...
God damn it!
So yeah, almost every single minigame gets recycled 4 different times in this game. What were they thinking? I mean, I don't mind the polar minigames getting recycled, because I always have a good time with these, I guess. And the same kinda goes for the Bash minigames too, like, these are actually fun. But the rest of this game just turns into pure torture from now on. Just an FYI, but I'm not going to bother with talking about every single minigame. I'm just gonna focus on my personal highlights. But back to the positive side though, here's a brand new minigame introduced in the second warp room. Oh god, it's World War C! Alright, time for the second boss fight, Burminator. Hey, now this one's fun. It's on the polar bear. So we have to avoid the missiles that the mecha bears shoot at us, and then we have to push those mecha freaks into the water, and then the missile magically shows up for us to launch into Burminator's face. Is it just me, or are some of these death animations like really dark? Alright, time for the third warp room, and this is automatically the worst one because it has embolism, and also Poco Loco, I guess. Engine and Ripperoo, but mostly Engine. I hate you. The amount of mental damage you and your minigame have done on me is insane. So Embolism. It's another version of Pong, and it's the worst minigame of all time. This is straight up gambling, there's no way about. The difference between the first version and this version? Engine occasionally shows up and randomly shoots balls in all directions. Personally, I prefer one direction. Oh, and I guess the occasional force field shows up to pick up, but the CPUs almost always get it, because they know it's coming beforehand.
This is bullshit!
But hey, once again the polar minigame comes to the rescue with another fun variation. In this version, Uka Uka is a stage hazard, and he can only give you bad power-ups that will sabotage you. Like this.
Oh, I did a bad thing.
And like this.
He also occasionally melts the ice. Oh, and sometimes this happens.
Oh, come on, we can... Oh my god! What the? Okay.
Now, Snow Bash sums up my relationship with Crash Bash very well. Sometimes I really love this minigame because of the snow theme and the fun chaos caused by the penguin, and other times I hate this minigame because of the ice physics and the penguin's rampage, which make this minigame too difficult. Seriously, the CPU just loves to attack this poor thing, although it can be a good strategy if you get lucky. I admit the tank minigame in this warp room does have a decent amount of good changes to make it a new fun take on the minigame. The walls are moving around constantly, which can drastically change the way you play in terms of placing mines and shooting your cannon. But you can also pick up a bomb power up that lets you shoot over walls, which is super satisfying to use. Yeah, this one's solid. Next up is another brand new minigame, Dot Dash. And I honestly don't really know what to even say about this one. It's tabletop racing alright. Oh, and this minigame is the beginning of Dingodale's theme song from Crash 3 playing everywhere in this game, to the point that I associate the song more with Crash Bash than with its game of origin. Speaking of music, who's afraid of the big bad fox, the big bad fox, the big bad fox? Who's afraid of the big bad fox? Oh wait, they're just Komodos. Big Bad Fox, the third boss fight in Crash Bash. This one's interesting. You're in a tank and you're fighting this big mech building thing or something. I like how you have infinite bombs now and the tank controls are gone too. Feels so good to be free roaming now. After the first phase ends, the Komodo brothers come out to fight you in their own tanks. Thankfully though, you do get a checkpoint here in case you die, and you probably will. Oh, and in this last phase you get to shoot missiles, which are even better than bombs. Fun fact, did you know that in the prototype version of Crash Bash, the Komodo brothers had Bart and Homer Simpson placeholder portraits? And Komodo Mo is a T-posing Joe for a long time. Well anyway, that's the third warp room done. I wonder what beautiful minigames await us in the next one. Oh look, it's the balls again. But there's tilt physics now! This doesn't make enough of a difference though. Like, this is so boring. But I do like how this level is a reskin of the World War II level from Crash Warped. I can already imagine it. People are fighting for their lives down there, and then every time the Crash gang drops a ball, a Nazi gets squashed. Next up is another fun take in the polar minigame. This time you can pick up and throw
Bombs?
Get out of here, Morshoe, you're in the wrong video! If you get hit by a bomb, your polar bear is dead. And then you have to ice skate and kick your opponents like a soccer ball. In Pogo Padlock, you're not allowed to jump onto your own color or else all of your colors will disappear. Definitely one of the more annoying minigames too. But can we appreciate this amazing soundtrack though? The new minigame introduced in this warp room is Ring Ding, part of the medieval category of minigames, whatever that means. We're in a clock tower collecting balloons while for some reason music from a polar bear minigame is playing. You know what? This one's kinda fun. But why is this medieval though? Did balloons even exist back then? Kinda weird to see such colorful balloons in what they call the Dark Ages. And now it is time for the final boss fight.
Excellent. There now only remains one challenge. You will need to combine all the skills that you have learned to succeed.
Wait, why are both of you here?
What do you mean I haven't mentioned the second player in the room yet that's been with me all this time? What are you doing here?
So yeah, oopsie, forgot to mention, you can play the entire adventure mode with 2 players, which is really cool. It makes the game a million times more fun and a little less frustrating. My sister Jessie and I are currently let's playing this game on our new Let's Play channel, trying to fulfill our childhood dream of 201%ing the game. And playing this game in co-op is so interesting. Every single version of every single minigame is now a 2 versus 2 battle. Playing in co-op is in my opinion the best and most fun way to play this game, so I definitely recommend trying it out with the right person. Seriously, the chaotic nature of Crash Bash gets even more chaotic this way. Pretty weird actually, not on being on the polar bear anymore. What? You killed me along with him? Seriously? You killed me with him?
Oh, what was that?
Well, guess you're doing the rest of this playthrough solo! I quit! So yeah, the reason Aku Aku and Uka Uka are both here is because I'm playing as Crash, a good guy, and Jessie is playing with Cortex, a bad guy. You'll see why we did that in a second, but first, it's time to beat Oxide. Yeah, this is awful in multiplayer. So during the first phase, we have to follow Oxide and survive until we reach his home planet Gasmoxia. However, with 2 players, you barely have any space to move around. Like, how are we supposed to avoid the hazards like this? One of us always dies during this phase before reaching the end. Now it's time for the final phase, and oh my god, it's the boss! Of course the final phase of the final boss is the most annoying minigame of all time. And yeah, I died, so now Jessie respawned, and hey, this doesn't look so difficult anymore, and all of a sudden now does it? Wrong! Oxide shoots missiles and red balls at us that can hurt us even more than letting balls in does. And now, because there's 2 of us, it's really hard to avoid all of this. Well anyway, after many failed attempts, we finally somehow beat Oxide. Time for the ending cutscene!
Well, Uka Uka, it seems we have a problem. A team made of both good and of evil has won.
This will not do! Stop colluding with that puny enemy and get back to the arena. You must crush your teammate. Evil must succeed. I, the great Uka Uka, must succeed. I must have the crystals!
Crystals, Uka Uka? What exactly are you planning? Listen to me. This has gone beyond the tournament. Uka Uka must not be allowed to gain control of the power contained within the crystals. You must defeat your evil teammate. Good luck.
Oh! Oh no! So, because I'm playing as a good guy and Jessie as a bad guy, Aku Aku and Uka Uka are forcing us to kill our own teammates that we've bonded with during this entire hardship of a game to decide which is better, good or evil. Why did this get so dark all of a sudden? And why didn't we just do this from the start? Well, at least we're getting an extra percentage on our profile for this. Well anyway, we now get a brand new exclusive 1 vs 1 bash minigame, where we have to beat each other up. Well, good will always prevail over evil. Jessie won.
God damn it!
Time for the bad ending. And wow, this is dark. This is so dark. Uka Uka straight up wins and is now going to conquer the world. And Aku Aku is terrified and tells Crash and Coco to flee as far away as possible. Mel Winkler did a phenomenal job voicing Aku Aku in this cutscene. I can truly hear the fear and sadness in his voice. This is truly the darkest cutscene in any Crash game. Yay, the world just ended! Time for fireworks! Okay, let's rewind for a second. I don't want it to end like this, okay? Let's let Crash win this time and make this our canon profile and ending.
Just stay still, okay?
Good wins. Good wins. Good wins.
Okay, this ending is much nicer. Aku Aku finds out about Uka Uka's secret evil plan with his crystal stash. And Uka Uka yells at Cortex and Brio for no reason. Aku Aku steals Uka Uka yet again, the world is saved. Did anyone say fireworks?
And that was Crash Bash. Or was it?
Wait, what's this? Another warp room? 17 gold relics, 21 gold relics, 23 crystals, 25 gems? What is all of this?
It seems we got one more ladder to go over in this video. This one comes from the one and only Cadicarus. He says, "Happy Bandicoot everyone, Crash Bash is the best game of all time." And if it's your birthday today, then have a happy freaking...
So as it turns out, every single minigame has a gem challenge, a crystal challenge, a golden relic challenge, and last, but certainly not least, a platinum relic challenge. As if recycling every minigame 4 times wasn't repetitive enough already, we have to play these minigames a bazillion times again in slightly different but very tedious ways just to unlock every single minigame and for 200% or in our case 201% completion. Okay, so what are these challenges like? Well, the gem challenges usually give you a very unfair restriction, usually forcing you to beat the minigame once with a very small time limit. This can get very difficult on some minigames, especially Drain Bash, because the trick to winning really fast in that game is to get lucky with the power upgrades, just like in Mario Kart. It's gambling! It's pure gambling! And then there are the ball minigames. In these gem challenges you just have to beat the CPUs as usual, but they have way more lives than you. Like, a lot more. Oh, and you also share lives with your teammates in multiplayer, but whoever plays as player 2 always has a hard time because of the weird depth perception on the side of the screen. I hate these ball gems with a passion, especially in Embolism, where it took us about an hour to get that stupid gem. Then there's the crystal challenges, and these are a bit more interesting, always changing the visual appearance of the stages in interesting ways. Gameplay wise though, these are just remixes to force you to be very careful, like extra hazards that can give you a major disadvantage, or in the case of some minigames like Pogo Loco for example, an instant fail. Ripperoo, you and your nitros are the second most annoying thing in this entire game right after Engine. Another annoying crystal challenge highlight was once again Embolism, this time taking us almost 90 minutes to get the crystal. Eventually, we just cheesed it with save states, so it could have taken us even longer if we didn't do that. And the funny thing is, in Crash Team Rumble's first season that just started, Engine and Ripperoo are the very first new characters they added. It's almost like Toys for Bob wanted to give me PTSD, and they succeeded! As for the gold relics and platinum relics, in the gold relics you go up against a more difficult CPU and you have to win 2 times in a row without losing. Platinum relics are the exact same thing, but you have to win 3 times in a row now. Whoop-de-fricking-do! Also, the platinum relics don't unlock anything other than bragging rights that you finally 200% completed the game. As for the brand new minigames, well, I haven't unlocked them yet. Except for Drag and Drop. Hopefully my sister and I will unlock the rest of the minigames for the very first time in our lives during our Let's Play eventually. Until then, I can only guess what these minigames are like based on what I've seen online. There are 2 more Dash minigames that are very glitchy apparently and are not that different from the previous ones. There's an interesting new take on the tank minigames that actually looks different enough to feel like its own thing. Now this one's exciting. And then there are the rest of the medieval minigames, which surprisingly enough are not rehashes of Ring Ding. All of them are drastically different, unique minigames that look very exciting to play.
Welcome to the relationship therapy. Wait, where's your partner?
This is my partner, sir.
I see. So, what's your problem?
Well, you see, sir, we have a love-hate relationship with each other.
How come?
Well,
One moment, we were having an amazing time together, listening to her amazing soundtrack, her beautiful graphics. But then, she starts molesting me with her balls. Her what? Or with her pogo stick. But then, sometimes she makes these ugly polar bear noises and I fall in love with her all over again. What do I do? May I suggest a new partner? It's time for a new adventure. You really are better at this than me.
I really am better than Dylan.